I'm reviewing the Motoz Tractionator RallZ or RallZ front tire in 90-90-21. For the folks with short attention spans, and a lot of people can't make it through 2 or 3 minutes of a video, the tire is horrible across the board. It is absolutely horrible on the road. It is fair on gravel roads and on trails. It is bad. Unfortunately, in these videos, you've got to share your street cred. I'm tired of typing it in the comments, so I've got nearly a half century of riding motorcycles. I've got several decades of riding dual sports and dirt bikes. I've ridden on-road pavement and off-road, and I've got about 12 years on large adventure motorcycles. I invite you to watch any of my over 800 videos. This tire is mounted to a 2018 KTM 1090 Adventure R. It does have, as I stated before, it has a 21-inch front tire and an 18-inch rear tire. Just so you folks don't think I'm a Motoz hater, the rear tire on this motorcycle is a Motoz Tractionator Adventure in 150/18. This is my fourth one. It has been a great tire. I think it's probably the best tire for large adventure motorcycles. I have about 2 or 3 review videos on it stating that. I don't think you could buy a better rear tire than this Motoz right here. The KTM 1090 Adventure R and these generation of KTM adventure bikes are very light front end. They have a really weight biased rear, and that is evidenced by the, you can see that little silver thing right there. There is a steering damper right there from the factory. So they know that they have a little head shake in these things, and that is taken into account. The previous tire on this bike was the original. I'm not going to get into the make, model, and brand of that because it's not relevant to this video. But I had several of those. They no longer make them. Had no issues with them anywhere in dirt, gravel, or pavement. Unfortunately, I had to go searching for a new tire. Unfortunately, the choice of this tire is 100% my fault. Did not do my due diligence. I did not read the reviews by others. Didn't really look into much. I simply was kind of exhausted at looking at different tires, and I said, well, let's go with Motoz. Let's get something off-road orientated, and I just went out and purchased it. I read maybe 1 or 2 reviews online and just said, boom, I just want to match it up to the rear and give Motoz a shot, which was the wrong decision. So let's go over to the sheet and I'll explain the weight bias of this motorcycle. All right, we're going to use this several times today. So this motorcycle is weight bias to the rear. So if you look at that this way, all your weight of the motorcycle, this is generally skewed back towards the rear tire. It makes this front tire very neutral, if you will. So that's what causes the head shake when going down the road. That's why they have that stabilizer or damper up there. So when you load this bike up with saddlebags and whatnot, it makes it even worse, lightening up this tire. Now this is a good thing off-road as you're going over obstacles and things like that, and in sand it keeps it up on plane, and going over obstacles, it makes it easier to get over them. So this is set up with the right tire. This is set up correctly, but when you whatever's going on with these Motoz, it makes that thing more exaggerated. But like I said, with the other tire that I had 0 issues. But we'll come back to this concept later. I've done several across the board tire pressure changes to make each condition, either pavement, gravel, or off-road, better. And up or down It does not matter with this tire. I still get the same condition with it. Pavement is the worst place for this tire. It wants to follow any deviation in the pavement, be it a crack, rain groove, or the burp strips on the side, any type of deviation of the pavement. It wants to follow that, probably worse than any knobby on an adventure bike or on a dirt bike that I've ever had. Head shake with this tire is really horrible. And this is for a adventure motorcycle. You're going to ride some pavement. I know everybody out there magically goes from their door to single track with these, but you've got to ride some pavement on an adventure motorcycle. That's the point of it, is to ride pavement to get to the place where you want to ride dirt. It may be 10 miles, it may be 600 miles. These should perform somehow very well on pavement. It's a DOT tire. It does not, I mean, it has that head shake death wobble. It's documented in the reviews. You can look at pretty much any tire selling website and see that people are reporting that this tire, and along the Motoz line, these front tires do have that wobble. So unloaded, at 65, if you hit those anomalies, you're going to get some head shake. Once you get over 75, you're going to get head shake just on its own. It's going to just apparently start to do the head shake. It is in Arizona, once you get off the secondary roads or the surface streets, most of your speeds start at about 65 miles an hour. We have 75 mile an hour speed limits once you get outside the urban areas. So at 70 miles an hour, you're susceptible to anomalies in the road to get head shake. Over 75, it just starts doing it on its own. Once you start loading this bike up, it's exacerbated. Once you start loading up that rear, it makes this worse. So you're driving that autonomous death wobble, if you will, down in speed. So at 65, 70 miles an hour, this thing's going to start shaking. When you're on the highway and you're passing people, you get that head shake, and it's pretty disturbing. The place this tire performs the best, and I use that generously, that term very generously, is on gravel roads. However, with that hard pack and marbly gravel, it never really wants to hook up. It's just got that mushy feeling, no matter where you're at. And if you get some sand or something like that, a buildup of an inch or two of sand, it definitely wants to push through that. Gravel roads, this, like I said, this thing should eat up gravel roads, and it does not give you a very good sense of confidence. The absolute best place this tire should perform is off-road. It's biased that way. It's 90% off-road and 10% on-road, however you want to put it, 80 or 20 or whatever it is. This thing should perform the best off-road, and it's bad off-road. So on sand, I'm talking wash sand. I don't know if you've ever ridden in the West, but we've got some really deep wash sand. It could be 6-8 inches down to several feet. And this thing should get up on plane, especially with the weight bias of the bike. It should get up on plane, and it should, that front tire should be like a rudder as you're pushing through the sand with your, or digging through the sand with your back tire, or riding through the sand with your back tire. You get up on plane on the sand. That front tire should be neutral and tracking like a rudder as you go through. However, this wants to just dig in. Maybe the aggressiveness of the knobbies. However, on the dirt bikes that I've had, that I have not had that case. Whatever it is, no matter what you do, as long as you're keeping on that throttle, you're keeping the back tire rotating, it should pick up and just kind of float across the top of the sand. However, this thing just wants to dig down inside. So what you're getting is a pull in, and actually pulling your bars one way or the other, kind of sending you off over the bars. Not a good thing. Very popular place to ride adventure bikes and dual sports is on 2-track. This is really bad on 2-track. You got that hump in the middle. When you are trying to traverse that hump one way or the other, if there's a blockage in the road, this thing does not want to grip. Usually you come to the edge of that hump, you'll feel a little uneasiness, but it should lock up, and then you should just be able to traverse that hump to the other side. This thing does not want to do that. It does not give you any good confidence going over that hump. To explain the two-track condition, so this is the side of the trail, and this is a little bit exaggerated. And then you have your hump in the middle, your second track, and then the other side of the trail. So this is usually filled with some type of debris, gravel, sand, whatever. So when your tire is coming across, it depends on the side bite here. So as you cross over to get to the other side here, let's say there's an obstruction, maybe a large rock or a branch or a tree or something like that over there, you kind of want to head over the top of that. So once you get to like this point here, you get a little bit of a wiggle, but it bites and then just sends you over to the other side of that, to the other side of this second track over here. But with the Motoz, RallZ, it heads up over here and even all the way across. It's giving you really horrible feedback. You're just all over the place. Someone that maybe doesn't have a whole lot of experience is probably going to freak out when they get probably somewhere up in here. And I'd be afraid that someone's going to put their bike down or something, because it is that bad. It's that front tire is just all over the place, hunting around for a place to get some traction, and it never does. I mean, it's been on there for 1,000 miles, and I haven't encountered any good places on two-track that have really hooked up. I mean, even just minimal amount of material between the two tracks gives you that uneasy feeling. Next up is off camber. So if you've got a trail that's off camber, or you're riding through ruts that have walls to them, and even doesn't even take a very steep wall, this thing wants to head to the bottom of that camber. There should be great side grip to these things. You got side knobs here that are pretty aggressive, but it just wants you to slide right down that camber. It does not even, I mean, it just gives you no sense of confidence. I mean, it's almost immediate. You're riding along there, and it just wants, that front tire just wants to drop in. All right, so we're back at the sheet, and I wanted to explain this off camber thing. So whether you're riding in some ruts or trenches, it doesn't even have to be very steep. That tire just wants to slide downhill. So as you're going along, those side bite knobs, and really you should have a little bit of deflection. And I think maybe that's probably part of the reason, is that that tire carcass is so hard, you're not getting any kind of deflection to grab onto that side hill. So even if you're in a condition where it's just, you've got a little bit of off camber on the trail goes like this, that tire just wants to head downhill. Forward momentum, anything like that, that stiffness of the sidewall, I think that's probably where it is. Just thinking about it now, is wanting to not put that tread on that side hill. It wants to stay stiff. So all you've got is your side bite knobs trying to dig in, and those are going to deflect and not allow you to remain up there. It just wants to send you right down that grade. So that's probably the problem with off camber. And like I said, it is just horrible in any type of off camber condition. All the design cues indicate this should be a great tire. It's got side lugs. It's got cross-directional area, and that's probably a bad way to term it, but if you look at where my pointer is, there's a lug there, and there's a lug here. That prevents the tire from sliding out either way. This should have enough protection that no matter where you're at, this would be applied to off-road mostly, whether gravel or two-track or whatever. This should not give you slide out, because these side lugs should be preventing that from happening, and even the distribution of the center lugs is offset. So you should not have any issues with this thing washing out. If you look at the tire construction for the pavement side of things, all of these knobs are bridged. I don't know if you can really see that in the light and the color, because it's tire color, but all of these knobs are bridged, these knobs are bridged. This center knob is bridged, and it's also bridged to the side lugs. These triples are all bridged to the side lugs. Even these doubles that I'm looking at it right now are bridged to the side lugs. That should give you stability on the road. This thing should not move around at all. An additional note on these treads with pavement, you've got a good center lug here, a good large center lug, and these two split lugs, these are all lined up. This is bridged here, and then you've got this large lug. So this should give you a good center confidence level going down the road. If you'll allow me, I'd like to add a postscript thought here about the stiff sidewall on this tire. One of the other issues I was having is slow leaks. That sidewall is so stiff that any imperfections in your rim, if you ride off-road, you're going to get some imperfections. Any imperfections in your rim, that sidewall is just straight justified, and it's not going to conform to those little dents and dings and stuff like that in your rim, and you're going to be chasing air pressure. You know, I had a condition where it was losing about 8 pounds overnight. Through a little beating and banging, I got it up to or down to, you know, maybe a pound over a course of 3 or 4 days. But unlike a lot of the other tires, which will do a little bit of give, this tire is going to cause you issues like that. So it may not necessarily be a leak in your tire. It just may be a condition of that sidewall stiffness. At this point, it's easy to assume what my summation of this tire is going to be. I would not recommend this for anyone, even people with lighter dual sport motorcycles. It's just, I don't feel it's a good tire all the way around. It's a very poor design. The Motoz Tractionator RallZ is an unfun tire to ride with at a minimum, and at the other end of the spectrum, with the wrong person in the right conditions, I feel it could be dangerous. There you go. That's what I think. It's my opinion. Please comment, subscribe, like and share, ding that bell so you get notified when I put up new videos. Adios.